think when you haven't been in a war for a while, you have to take what you can get. I mean, Canada, 1914, they must have been pretty desperate. Well, take me, for instance. 20 years old, convicted liar and cheat. I mean, I'm on record as the worst student RMC. Well, that's Royal Military College, Kingston, Ontario. I'm on record as the worst student they ever had. I joined the Army. They made me an officer. A lieutenant in the Mississauga Horse. All I can say is, they must have been scraping the bottom of the barrel. We were off to fight the Hun, though hardly anyone had ever read about a battle, much less seen a Lewis gun. We were off to fight the Hun, and it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all, at all, at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a great war. I mean, all my friends were very keen to join up. They were. Not me. Royal Military College had been enough for me. Now, the reason I went to RMC is, well, I could ride a horse. And I was a great shot. I mean, I am a really good shot. I got these tremendous eyes, you see. And RMC had an entrance exam, and that was good because my previous scholastic record wasn't that hot. In fact, when I suggested to my principal that indeed I was going to RMC, he said, "Bishop, you don't have the brains." I studied real hard, sat for the exams, and got in. Recruits! Recruits will march at all times. They will not loiter, they will not window shop. Recruits! Recruits will run at all times within the parade square. Recruits! Recruits will be sounding curves every Friday night. Whether they deserve it or not. I mean, those guys were nuts. They were going to make leaders out of us. The theory being that before you could learn to lead, you had to learn to obey. And because of this, we're all assigned to an upperclassman as a kind of, well, slave. And I'm assigned to this real sadistic SOB, this guy named Vivian Bishop. And that's right, same surname as me, and because of that, I have to tuck him in bed at night, kiss him on the forehead, and say, "Good night, Daddy." I mean, it's kind of hard to take some of that stuff seriously. One of my punishments, I'm supposed to clean up this old Martello Tower down by the edge of the lake, and the place is filthy. Hasn't been used in years, but I do a real good job. I clean it up real well. This upperclassman comes along to inspect. "What's that in the corner, Bishop?" That's a spider, sir. "That's right, Bishop. That's a spider. Now, you had orders to clean this place up? You haven't done that. You get down on your hands and knees and eat that spider." Hey, they eat that spider in front of all my classmates. Will you ever have to eat a spider? In public? Yeah, I doubt it. Nuts. Now, whenever I'm not happy, I mean, whenever I'm not having a really good time, I do one of three things. I get sick, I get injured, or I get into an awful lot of trouble. And my third year at RMC, I got into an awful lot of trouble. With this friend of mine, Townsend, one night we got a bottle of gin, eh? And we stole a canoe. And we arranged to meet these girls out on Cedar Island in Dead Man's Bay. Well, of course, the canoe tips over. Now, it's early spring, really cold, and we get back to shore somehow, and we're shivering, and Townsend says, "Bish, I'm going to the infirmary. I think I got pneumonia." And I'm sitting there saying, "Well, whatever you do, you silly bugger, change into some dry clothes first." Because we couldn't let anybody know what we'd been doing. I mean, we were absent without leave, in possession of alcohol, and we'd stolen a canoe. What I didn't realize is that the officer on duty had witnessed this whole thing. Townsend goes to the infirmary, is confronted with these charges, and admits to everything. I didn't know that. I'm rudely awakened out of my sleep and hauled up in front of old Adjutant Perot. "Sir, I've been in my bed all night, sir. I really don't know what you're talking about, sir." "Come on now. Come on now, Bishop. We have the testimony of the officer on duty, and the full confession of your accomplice, implicating you fully in this. Now, Bishop, what is your story? I figured I was in too deep now to change my story. Sir, I still maintain, Bishop! I'm going to say the worst thing I can say to a gentleman cadet. You are a liar. I got 28 days restricted leave for that. It's like a house arrest. And then, well, then they caught me cheating on my final exams. Well, I turned the crib notes in with the exam paper. That's when they called me the worst student RNC ever had. They weren't going to tell me what my punishment was until the next fall so I could stew about it all summer. But I knew it was going to be all right. Expulsion with full honors. But then the war broke out. I enlisted and was made an officer. I mean, for me, it was the lesser of two evils. And all my friends were very keen on the whole thing. They were. We were off to fight the Hun. Oh, hardly anyone had ever seen a Hun. With no one, if we saw one, we were off to fight the Hun. And it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all, at all, at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all. October 1st, 1914, the first contingent of the Canadian Expeditionary Forces left for England. I wasn't with them. I was in the hospital, thinking of Margaret. Dearest Margaret, I am in the hospital with pneumonia. I also have an allergy, but the doctors don't know yet what I am allergic to. Maybe it's horses. Maybe it's the army. The hospital is nice, so I am in good spirits. Thinking of you constantly, I remain. March 1915, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th contingents of the Canadian Expeditionary Forces left for England. I wasn't with them either. I was back in the hospital. Thinking of Margaret. Sweetheart, please excuse my writing, as I have a badly sprained wrist. Yesterday, my horse reared up and fell over backwards on me. It was awful. I could have been killed. My head was completely buried in the mud. My nose is, of course, broken and quite badly swollen, and I can't see out of one eye. I have 2 broken ribs and am pretty badly bruised, but the doctors say I'll be up and around by Monday. The hospital is nice, so I am in fine spirits. Thinking of you constantly, I remain. June 1915, the 7th contingent of the Canadian Expeditionary Forces left for England. I was with them. Now this is aboard a cattle boat called the Caledonia out of Montreal. There was a big crowd of people come down to the pier to see us off. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people. For a while there, I felt like the whole thing was worth doing. It's pretty impressive when you look out there and you see several hundred people cheering and waving at you. I mean, when you're from a small town, the numbers get to you. And you're looking out at them, and they're looking back at you, and you think, boy, I must be doing something right. And they play God Save the King, and everybody's cheering and waving and crying, and the boat starts to pull out. They start to yell like you never heard anybody yell before. I mean, you feel good, you really do. And we're all there praying, guts up on the deck. It was a big joke. Anytime anybody would puke, which was every minute or two, everybody would point to him and laugh like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. I mean, puke swishing around on the deck 2 inches deep. Har, har, har. Couldn't sleep, even if it was calm, because every time you close your eyes, you had this nightmare about the ship being torpedoed. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see this torpedo come up through the water, up through the hull of the ship, and boom! And we were attacked too, just off the coast of Ireland. I was scared shitless. I mean, all you could do was stand at the rail and watch the other ships get hit and go down. Bodies floating around like driftwood. But we made it through. Good ship Caledonia, latrine of the Atlantic, full of dead horses and sick Canadians. When we got off, they thought we were a boatload of Balkan refugees. We were off to fight the Hun. We would shoot him with a gun. Our medals would shine like a saber in the sun. We were off to fight the Hun, and it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all, at all, at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all. 2 days later, we marched into Shorncliffe military camp, right on the channel. You know, on a clear night, you could see the artillery flashes from France. I took it as a sign of better things to come. It wasn't. Dearest Margaret, Shorncliffe military camp is the worst yet. The cold wind brings 2 kinds of weather. Either it rains or it doesn't. When it rains, you've got mud like you've never seen before. Your horse gets stuck in 1.5 foot of mud. You get off and you're knee deep. The rain falls in sheets and you're wet to the skin. You're never dry. And the rain stops and the ground dries out. What a relief, you say? And the wind gets the dust going. And you got dust storms for days. The sand is like needles hitting it, and a lot of the men are bleeding from the eyes. I don't know which is worse, going blind or going crazy. The sand gets in your food, your clothes, in your tent, in your body orifices. A lot of the men have something called desert madness, which is really serious. As I write this letter, the sand is drifting across the page. Thinking of you constantly, I remain. Be buried alive in mud. I was seriously considering that proposition one day, when a funny thing happened. I got my horse stuck in the middle of the parade ground. The horse is up to its fetlocks and I'm up to my knees. Mud, sweat, and horse shit from head to toe. And suddenly, out of the clouds comes this little single-seater Scout. You know, this little fighter plane. Circles a couple of times. I guess the pilot had lost his way and was going to come down and ask for directions. He does this graceful, easy turn and lands on an open space, like a dragonfly on a rock. The pilot gets out, he's in this long sheepskin coat, helmet, goggles, warm and dry. Gets his directions, jumps back into his machine, and then off into the air with a mist blowing off him, all by himself. No superior officer, no horse, no sand, no mud. What a beautiful picture. just stood there, watching him, till he was out of sight. Long gone. I mean, this war was going on a lot longer than anyone expected. I mean, a lot more people were getting killed than anyone expected. I wasn't going to spend the rest of the war in the mud. And I sure as hell wasn't going to die in the mud.
Thinking of December nights in the clear Canadian cold, where the winter air don't smell bad, and the wind don't make you old, where the rain don't wash your heart out, and the nights ain't filled with fear. Oh, those old familiar voices whispering.
Oh, Canada, sing a song for me. Sing one for your lonely son, so far across the sea. You don't fancy the cavalry then, eh? What? I'll say, you don't fancy the cavalry then, eh? It's gonna be worse at the front, mate. There you got guys shooting at you, right? With machine guns. Here's a bloody shooting gallery. They still think they're fighting a Boer war. I mean, cavalry charges against machine guns? Here's a bloody shooting gallery, with you in the middle of it, mate. Oh, God, this is awful. I mean, something's got to be done. I mean, I was a casualty in training. Take a word of advice from me, mate. The only way out is up. Up? Up! Join the Royal Flying Corps. I did. I used to be in the cavalry, but I joined the RFC. I like it. It's good, clean work. Mind you, the bleeding machines barely stay in the air, and the life expectancy of the new lads is about 11 days, but I like it. It's good, clean work. Wait a minute. How can I get into the Royal Flying Corps? I'm Canadian. I'm cannon fodder. You practically have to own your own plane to get into the RFC. Au contraire, mate. Au contraire. The upper classes are depressed by the present statistics, and they aren't joining with their usual alacrity. Now, anyone who wants to can get blown out of the air. Even Canadians. What do I have to do? Well, you get in and see him at the War Office, right? Daft bunch of twits, but they're all right. Now you act real eager, like you want to be a pilot. You crave the excitement, any old rubbish like that. Then, they're not going to know what to ask next because they don't know a bleeding thing about it. So they'll ask whatever comes into the Reds, which ain't much. And then they'll say, you can't be a pilot. You've got to be an observer. Well, what's an observer? He's the fellow who goes along for the ride, you know, and looks about. Oh, so you act real disappointed, like your mum wanted you to be a pilot. And then you get your transfer. Now, wait a minute. All right, I'm an observer. I'm the fellow who goes along for the ride, looks about. So what? How do I get to be a pilot? Well, I don't know. Sooner or later, you just get to be a pilot. Plenty of vacancies these days, eh? Check the casualty list, wait for a bad one. You've got to get in by the back door, you know what I mean? I mean, nobody has to be a pilot right away, for Christ's sake. Especially not bleeding Canadians. You ever trust your future to a drunken conversation in a bar? Yeah, right. Well, 2 days later, I went down to see him at the War Office. must have the correct qualifications. Now, while the War Office has not yet ascertained which qualifications are indeed necessary to apply an aeroplane, we will see to it that all candidates possess the necessary qualifications should the War Office ever decide what those qualifications are. You understand, Bishop? Perfectly, sir. Oh, very good. Jolly good. More than I can say. Ha, ha, ha. Shall we begin then, Bishop? Ready when you are, sir. Oh, that's good. Shows keenness, you see. And good luck, Bishop. Oh, yeah. What on earth shall I ask you? Do you ski? Ski, sir? Yes, sir. Do you ski? Now, here was an Englishman asking a Canadian whether or not he skied. The Canadian said he didn't. The Englishman might find that somewhat suspicious. Ski? Yes, sir. Never skied in my life. Oh, good, good, good. Thought you might, hmm? Now, do you ride a horse? I'm an officer in the cavalry, sir. Doesn't necessarily follow, but we'll put down that you ride, shall we? Now, what about sports, Bishop? Run, jump, throw the ball, play the game, what? Sports, sir? All sports. Hmm? Oh, well, very good. Very good. I'm most impressed. Does that mean I can become a fighter pilot, sir? Well, who knows, Bishop? Who knows? All full up with fighter pilots at the moment. It takes 6 months, year to get in. Terribly sorry. Nothing I can do, old man. I see, sir. However, we do have an immediate need for observers. You know, the fellow who goes along for the ride, looks about. What do you say, Bishop? I thought about it. I wanted to be a pilot, if I could. So, in the fall of 1915, I joined the 21st Squadron as an observer. Well, that's what they were using planes for in those days, observation. You could take pictures of enemy troop formations, direct artillery fire, stuff like that. It seemed like nice, quiet work at the time. And I was really good at the aerial photography. These great eyes, remember. And to fly. You're in this old Barnum trainer. It sounds like a tractor. It coughs and wheezes and chugs its way up to 1,000 feet. You're in a kite with a motor that can barely get off the ground, but even so, you're in the air. You're not on the ground, you're up above everything. It's a different world up there. A different war. And a different breed of men fighting that war. Flyers. In training, we heard all the stories. If you went down behind enemy lines and were killed, they'd fly over. Well, the Germans, that is. They'd fly over under a flag of truce and drop a photograph of your grave. Nice. If you were taken prisoner, it was the champagne razzle in the officers' mess, talking and drinking all night. Yeah, it was a different war up there. And from where I stood, it looked pretty damn good.
Could you be a bit more specific, please?
I see 2 planes in the air.
A fight that's fair and square.
With dips and loops and rolls that would scare you.
Oh, I'm scared already. We will force the German down.
And arrest him onto the ground.
A patriotic lad from Bavaria.
Bloody son. But he'll surrender willingly.
And salutes our chivalry.
For this war was not of our creation, but before its prison camp, and the bed that's cold and damp, we'll all have a little celebration. Oh, we'll toast our youth on champagne and vermouth, for all of us know what it's like to fly. Oh, the fortunes of war can't erase a sweet accord, and we'll all of us be friends till chivalry? You want gallantry? You want nice guys? Well, that's your flyer. Geez, I was gonna be one. January 1st, 1916, I transferred to France as a flyer. Well, as an observer, anyway. That's when I found out that 21st Squadron was known as the Suicide Squadron. I mean, that awful nickname used to prey on my mind, you know? And the Archies? Anti-aircraft guns? Not tonight, Archibald. I mean, you're tooling around over the enemy territory, doing your observation work, a sit and duck, and suddenly you're surrounded by these little puffs of black smoke, and then wham! Shrapnel all around you. I was hit in the head by a piece of flak once. I was only bruised, but 2 inches lower, I could have been killed. And we were all scared stiff of this new German machine, a Fokker. It had this interrupter gear, which meant that the pilot could shoot at you straight through the propellers without actually shooting the propellers off. All he had to do was aim his plane at you. The casualties? Lots and lots of casualties. It was a grim situation. But we didn't know how grim it could get until we saw the RE-7, the Reconnaissance Experimental 7, our new plane. You didn't need a war to get yourself killed in this thing. No. What you saw was this mound of cables and wires with about 1,000 pounds of equipment hanging off it. 4 machine guns, a 500-pound bomb, for God's sakes, reconnaissance equipment, cameras. Roger Neville, well, that's my pilot, he and I are ordered into the thing to take it up. Well, of course it didn't get off the ground. Anybody could see that without fine. Good riddance. But then the officers got into the huddle. Oh, what shall we do now? What shall we do now? Take the bomb? Take what? Take the bomb off! So we take the bomb off and try it again. This time the thing kind of flops down the runway like a crippled duck. Finally, by taking everything off but one machine gun, the thing kind of flops into the air and chugs along. It was a pig. We were all scared stiff of it. So, they put us on active duty as bombers. They gave us 2 bombs each. Told us to fly over Hunland and drop them on somebody. But in order to compensate for the weight of the bombs, they took our machine guns away. Dearest Margaret, we are dropping bombs on the enemy from unarmed machines. It is exciting work. It's hard to keep your confidence in a war when you don't have a gun. We managed to make it back somehow in one piece, and we all start joking around and laughing and inspecting our machines for bullet and shrapnel damage. We're so thankful not to be dead. Then I go back to the barracks and lie down. A terrible feeling of loneliness comes over me. It's like waiting for the firing squad. Yeah, it makes you want to cry. You feel so afraid, so alone. I think all of us who aren't dead think these things. Thinking of you constantly, I remain.
Nobody shoots no one in Canada. At least nobody they don't know. Nobody shoots no one in Canada. Last battle was a long, long time ago. folks tend to wish each other well.
Of course, in this situation, it wasn't too long before the accident started happening again. I was driving a truckload of parts just a couple miles from the aerodrome, and I run into another truck. While inspecting the undercarriage of my machine, a cable snaps, hits me in the head, and I'm unconscious for 2 days. I got a tooth pulled. It got infected, and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Then Roger does this really bad landing, and I hit my knee on a metal brace inside the plane so hard I could barely walk. Then I got 3 weeks leave in London. None too soon. On the boat going back, we all got the champagne and cognac pretty heavy, and by the time we arrived, we were all pretty tight. And this game developed to see which one of us would be the first to touch foot on English soil. And I'm leading the race down the gangplank. I trip and fall, and everybody else falls on top of me. Right on the knee, I hurt in the crash. Ah, pain was awful. I was damned if I was going to spend the rest of my leave in the hospital, so I just poured down the brandy until the thing was pretty well numb. I had a great time. If the pain was ever too much for me in the night and I couldn't sleep, I just poured down the brandy. Right around my last day of leave, I started thinking about the bombing runs, the Archies, the pokers, and I thought, geez, maybe I better have somebody take a look at this knee. The doctors found that I had a cracked kneecap, which meant I was going to be in the hospital for a couple of weeks. But they also found that I had a badly strained heart, which meant I was going to be in the hospital for an indefinite period. As far as I was concerned, I was out of the war. Take me under that big blue sky, where the deer and the black bear play. May not be heaven, but heaven knows we try. Wish I was in Canada today. I'm dreaming of the trees in Canada. Northern lights are dancing in my head. If I die, then let me die in Canada, where there's a chance I'll die in bed. The hospital is nice. People don't shoot at you. People don't drop things on you. I thought it'd be a nice place to spend the rest of the war. I went to sleep for 3 days. I had this nightmare. Really terrible dream. I'm in the lobby of the Grand Hotel in London. The band is playing military music. The lobby's full of English and German officers, and they're all dancing together. You know, the metal jingle like sleigh bells in the snow, and the sound is deafening, and I gotta get out of there. But when I turn to run, my knee is out underneath me. And as I try and get up, I'm kicked in the stomach by a Prussian boot. As I turn around, I'm kicked in the rear by an English boot. And then I turn, and all of the officers have formed a chorus line, like in the Follies. They're headed right for me, kicking. And I scream as 100 black boots kick me high in the air. And I scream as I turn over and over again, help me, help me, they're trying to kill me. Ah! My goodness, Bishop. You will never get any rest screaming at the top of your lungs in this excessive manner. In front of me is a face I'd never seen before. Very old, female, long white hair pulled back in a bun, revealing 2 of the biggest ears I'd ever seen. You would be the son of Will Bishop of Owen Sound, Canada, would you not? Of course you are. The resemblance is quite startling. Your father was a loyal supporter of a very dear friend of mine, Sir Wilfred Laurier. It was in that connection that I met your father in Ottawa, a gaping mouth is most impolite, Bishop. No, I am not clairvoyant. I am Lady St. Helier, Reform Alderman, poetess, friend of Churchill, and the woman who shall save your life. Enough of this gay banter, Bishop. Time runs apace, and my life is not without its limits. You have been making rather a mess of it, haven't you? You are a rude young man behaving like cannon fodder. Perfectly acceptable characteristics in a Canadian. But you are different. You are a gifted Canadian. And that gift belongs to a much older and deeper tradition than Canada can ever hope to provide. Quite against your own wishes, you'll be released from this dreadful hospital in 2 weeks' time. Promptly at 3 o'clock that afternoon, you will present yourself before my door in Portland Place, dressed for tea and in a positive frame of mind. Do I make myself clear, Bishop? Good. Do be punctual, Mr. Bishop. Well, that old girl must have known something I didn't. Because in 2 weeks I am released from the hospital. Promptly at 3 o'clock that afternoon, I am in front of her door at Portland Place in my best uniform, shining my shoes on the back of my pants. The door is opened by the biggest butler I've ever seen. Hi! Madam, the Canadian is here. Shall I show him in? Yes, Cedric, show him in. Get in. I'm shown into the biggest room I'd ever seen. I mean, fireplace, 8 feet wide. Stairway must have had 100 steps in it. Now, I'm not too used to dealing with the nobility. Servants, grand ballrooms, pheasant hunting on the heath, 50-year-old brandy over billiards, breakfast in bed. Shit, what a life. Madam is in the study. Get in. Study. Books. Books. More books than I'll ever read. Persian rug. Tiger's head over the mantel. African spears in the corner. Rule Britannia. Britannia rules. I stand at the door. On edge. Out of my element. Lady St. Helier sits at this little writing desk. Writing. Very punctual, Mr. Bishop. Do sit down. I sit on this chair that's all carved lion heads. One of the lions sticks in my back. Would our visitor from Canada care for tea, madam? Would you care for something to drink, Bishop? Tea? Yeah, all right. Tea will be fine. A tea for Bishop Cedric, and I'll have a gin. Gin. Hey, I wonder if I could change that. No, that's all right. Tea will be fine. When the tea is served, I sip my tea. Lady St. Helier sips her gin. Cedric looms over me, afraid I was going to drool on the carpet or something. Lady St. Helier stares at me through her thick spectacles. Then her ears start to twitch, like she's honing in on something. I have written a poem in your honor, Bishop. I can but hope that your rustic mind will appreciate its significance. Cedric? and his life will soon be parted. War's a fact of life today. It will not be wished away. Forget the fact that you'll be dead before you started. So Bishop, go up before I throw up. Your worst enemy is yourself, as you well know. Before you're dead out, get the lead out. You have your own naivete to overthrow. Thank you, Caesar. Do I make myself clear, Bishop? You will cease this mediocrity which your record only too clearly reveals. You will become the pilot you wish to be, but were lamentably content to settle for less. Now, this will take time, for you must recover the health which you have so seriously undermined. To that end, you will remain here, a lodger at Portland Place, top of the stairs, 3rd floor, 7th room on the left. Cedric, be kind to Bishop, but ignore his bad manners. For cultivation exacts its price, the loss of a certain vitality. Beneath this rude Canadian exterior, there lies a power which you will never know. Properly harnessed, that power will win wars for you. Churchill knows it, and I know it too. Good day, Bishop. Now, there are 1 or 2 Canadians that would have taken offense at that. Not me. Living at Portland Place, I found out a few things right away. Like, for instance, life goes much smoother when you got influence. But take this pilot business, for example. Lady St. Helier is on the phone to Churchill. The next day, I'm called down to the War Office. The atmosphere was much different. Good to see you, Bishop. Good to see you, my boy. Well, your mother's wish is finally going to come true, eh? Really, sir? Yes. You're going to become a pilot. No problem. Pas de problème, eh? Medical examination in 2 days' time, then you're for training. Medical examination. What about my weak heart? What about the fact that 3 weeks ago I was on the verge of a medical discharge? Strip to the waist, Bishop. Stick out your tongue and say 99. Good. Cough. That's good too. Turn around 10 times. 8, 9, 10. Catch up. Still on your feet, Bishop. Well, you're all fit as a fiddle and ready to fly. Gonna fly so high like a bird in the sky with the wind in my hair and the sun burning in my eyes. Flying Canadian, machine gun in my hand. First ton I seize, first ton to die. Gonna fly in my machine, gonna shoot so clean, gonna hear them scream when I hit them between the eyes. Flying Canadian, machine gun in my hand. First ton I seize, first ton to die. Flying, what I've been waiting for. Way to fight a war. Flying Canadian, machine gun in my hand. First ton I seize, first ton to die. Gonna fly. Gonna shoot them down and they hit the ground and they burn with the sound of bacon on the fry. Flying Canadian, machine gun in my hand. First ton I seize, first ton to die. First ton I seize, first ton to die. I'll never forget my first solo flight. Lonely? Jesus. You're sitting at the controls all by yourself, trying to remember what they're all for. Everybody stopped doing what they're doing to watch you. There's an ambulance parked at the edge of the runway. And you know why. You also know that there's a surgical team at the hospital just ready to rip.
Switch off.
Switch off?
Petrol on.
Petrol on?
Suck in.
Suck in?
Switch on.
Switch on?
Contact.
Contact. The propeller's given a sharp swing over, and the engine starts with a roar, coughs a couple of times, and soon starts hitting on all cylinders. You signal for him to take away the chocks. And soon start bouncing down the field under your own power and head her up into the wind. easy, easy. Once I was in the air, I felt a lot better. In fact, I felt like a king. Mind you, I'm not fooling around. I'm flying as straight as I can, climbing steadily. Woo! All alone. What a feeling. I gotta do a turn. I execute a gentle turn. Skidding like crazy, but what the hell? I do another turn. This time I bank it a little bit more. Too much. All in all, I'm having a hell of a time up here until I remember I have to land. Oh God, what do I do now? Just keep your head, that's what you do. Pull back on the throttle a little bit. Too much. Put the nose down to a steep dive. Too steep, bring it up again. Down again. Up, down. And then a series of steps kind of descend to work. And I execute everything I remember I have to do to make a perfect landing. 40 feet off the ground. Put the nose down and do another perfect landing. This time I'm only 8 feet off the ground. No room now for another nose down maneuver. The Rumpty kind of takes things into her own hands and just pancakes the rest of the way to the ground. First solo flight! Greatest day of a man's life! Flying! What have I been waiting for? What a way to fight a war! Flying Canadian, machine gun in my hand. First time I sees first son to die. First time I sees first son to die. First part of 1917, I posted back to France as a fighter pilot. 60th Squadron, 3rd British Brigade. I worked like a Trojan for these wings. I nearly lost them before I really got started. I was returning for my first OP. That's operational patrol, and I crashed my Newport on landing. Well, I wasn't hurt, but the machine was pretty well pranged, and that was bad because General John Higgins, the brigade commander, saw me do it. Well, he couldn't help but see me do it. I just about crashed at his feet. I watched you yesterday, Bishop. You destroyed a machine. A very expensive, a very nice machine. Doing a simple landing on a clear day. That machine was worth more than you'll ever be. Sir, there was a gust of wind from the hangar. Ask Major Scott, sir. It could have happened to anyone. I was on the field, Bishop. Yes, sir? There was no wind. No wind. Yes, sir. I have your record here on my desk, Bishop. It isn't a very impressive document. No. On the positive side, you were wounded. And you score well in target practice, although you've never actually fired at the enemy. The list of your negative accomplishments is longer, isn't it? Much longer. Conduct unbecoming an officer, breaches of discipline, a lot of silly accidents, suspicious accidents, if I may say so. A trail of wrecked machinery in your wake. You are a terrible pilot, Bishop. In short, you are a liability to the RFC, and I wish to God you are back in Canada where you belong, or failing that, digging a trench in some unstrategic valley. In short, lowest point in my career. Then came March 25th, 1917. March 25th, 1917. 4 Newport scouts in diamond formation climbed to 9,000 feet, crossing the line somewhere between Arras and St. Ledger. Our patrol is to crisscross the lines, noting Heine's troop position and movements. I'm the last man in formation. Tough place to be because if you fall too far behind, the headhunters are waiting for you. We fly along for about half an hour without seeing anything. Just miles and miles of nothing. Suddenly, I see 4 specks above and behind us. Perfect place for an enemy attack. And watch as the specks get larger, and I can make out the black crosses on them. Huns! It's hard to believe they're real, alive, and hostile. I want to circle around to get a better look. +5 strutters, beautiful. Their sweatback wings, powerful and quick. Our leader, Jack Scott, hasn't seen them. We keep flying straight. Either he hasn't seen them or he wants them to think that he hasn't seen them. They're getting closer and closer. We keep flying straight. They're 200 yards behind us now. Getting closer and closer. And then suddenly, Jack Scott pulls out into a sharp climbing turn to get them up behind him. The rest of us follow. I'm slower than the rest and come out about 40 yards behind. In front of me, a dogfight is happening. Right in front of my very eyes. Real pandemonium. Airplanes turning every which way. Machine gun fire. Suddenly, Jack Scott sweeps below me with an albatross on his tail, raking his fuselage and wingtips with gunfire. For a minute, I'm just frozen there, not knowing what to do. My whole body just shaking all over. Then I push the stick over and bang on the Hun. I keep him in my element sight until he completely fills the lens. What a feeling as he flips over on his back and falls out of control. Wait. Great Caldwell warned me about this. He's not out of control. He's faking it. He's gonna level out at 2,000 feet and escape. Bastard! I dive after him with my engine full on. Sure enough, as he pulls out, I'm out right there with him. My tracers are smashing into his machine. God, I must be hitting him. He flips over his back and is gone again. This time I stay right with him. The wires of my machine howl in protest. Newports have had their wings come off at 140 miles an hour. I must be doing 180. I just don't give a shit. I keep firing after the tumbling Hun. He crashes into the ground and explodes in flames. A whoosh. I pull back on the stick, level out, screaming at the top of my lungs. I win! I win! I win! Oh. Jesus, my engine stopped! You must have filled with oil on the dime. I try every trick in the book to get it going again. Nothing. Oh, God, I'm going in. Down. Gunfire. I must still be over Hunland. Just my luck to do something right and end up being taken prisoner. Lower and lower. I pick out what looks to be a level patch in the rough terrain and just set her down. Get out of the plane. This must have been a shell hole. take my flare gun with me. I have no idea what good it's supposed to do me. You're just in time for a cup of tea, lad. Hey, you spoke English. Where am I? Well, you're at the corner of Portage and Main in downtown Winnipeg. You want to get down, lad? Heine's sitting right over there. Now, that was a nice bit of flying you did there. Yeah, you're 100 yards our side of the line. Huh. Oh, hey, listen. I wonder if you could do me a favor. I'd like to get the plane up again. Not tonight, lad. Nope. You're just gonna have to take the Montcalm suite here at the chateau. Spent the night in the trench. 6 inches of water. The soldiers seemed to be able to sleep. I couldn't. Next morning at first light, I crawled out to see how my plane was. Miraculously, I hadn't been hit. That's when I got my first real look at no man's land. Jesus. What a mess. Barely a tree left standing. And the smell. It's hard to believe you're still on Earth. I saw a couple of Tommies sleeping in a trench nearby. Hey, fellas, could you give me a hand here?
Oh, bloody earth is littered with the fighters and the quitters. What could be more bitter than a nameless death below? See the trenches long and winding, see the battle slowly grinding. Don't you wonder how good men can live so low? Up above the clouds are turning, up above clouds are turning. You can hear the soldiers yearning, oh, if only I could fly. From the burning sun I'll sight you, in the burning sun I'll fight you. Oh, let us dance together in the sky, in the sky, in the sky. Just you and I up there together. We'll fly
Survival. That's the important thing. And the only way to learn survival is to survive. Success depends on accuracy and surprise. How well you shoot, how you get into the fight, and how well you can fly, in that order. Well, I can't fly worth shit compared with someone like Barker or Ball, but I don't care. If I get a kill, it's usually in the first few seconds of the fight. Any longer than that, you might as well get the hell out. You have to be good enough to get it with your first few bursts, so practice your shooting as much as you can. After patrols, in between patrols, on your day off. Now, if I get a clear shot at a guy, he's dead. You ever heard of flamers? Well, that's when you bounce a machine and it just bursts into flames. Now, I don't want to sound too bloodthirsty or anything, but when that happens, it's very satisfying. It's almost always pure luck. You hit a gas line or something like that. If you want the plane to go down every time, you aim for one thing. The man. I always go for the man.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, Charlie's Bar, Amiens proudly presents the lovely Alain.
Charlie was a Christian. He was humble and humane. His conscience was clear, his soul was out a stain.
He was contemplating heaven when the wings fell off his plane.
And he never got out alive.
No.
No. He didn't survive. George was patriotic. His country he adored. He was the first to volunteer when his land picked up the sword. And half a dozen medals were his posthumous reward. And he never got out alive.
No.
No. He didn't survive. So when you fight, stay as calm as the ocean. And watch what's going on behind your shoulder. Remember, war's not some place for deep emotion. And maybe you'll get a little older. Come into a fight with an advantage. Height, speed, surprise. Come out of the sun, he'll never see you. Get him his tail, his blind spot, so you can shoot at him without too much risk to yourself. Generally, patrols don't look behind them as much, so sneak up on the last man. They'll never know what hit him. Then you get out in the confusion. Hunt them, like hell's handmaid. If it's 1-on-1, you come at the bugger head on, guns blazing. He chickens out before you do, and you catch him as he comes across your sights. If you both veer the same way, you're dead. So it's tricky. You have to keep your nerve. Jeffrey made a virtue of the cowardice and fear. He was their best to go on sick leave. He was their last volunteer. He was running from the fight once they attacked him from the rear. And he never got out alive. No, he didn't survive. Another thing is your mental attitude. It's not like the infantry, where a bunch of guys whip themselves into a screaming rage and go tearing off over the top, yelling and waving their bayonets. It's not like that. You're part of a machine, so you have to stay very calm and cold. You and your machine work together to bring the other fella down. You get to where you don't feel anything after a while. Till the moment you start firing. And that old dry throat, heart-throbbing thrill comes back. It's a great feeling. Jimmy hated
Jones was a fashion girl indeed. He cursed them when he saw them, he cursed them in his sleep. He was cursing as his plane went down and landed in a heap. And he never got out alive. No. He didn't survive. So when you fight, stay as calm as the ocean and watch what's going on behind your shoulder. Remember, war's not a place for to keep emotion, and then maybe you'll get a little older.
Bloody April. We lost just about everybody I started with. Knowles, Howell, Williams, Townsend, Chapman, Stedman. Shot down the day he joined the squadron. You see, the Hun has better planes, and some of their pilots are very good. But practice makes perfect. If you can stay alive long enough to practice. But staying alive gets easier and easier because hardly anyone else has the same experience as you. Oh yeah. And another thing. Take your fun where you can find it. He has noticed the lovely Helene. She has noticed him. They meet outside. Without a word, she signals for him to follow. They walk down an alley, under an archway, and down a darkened stairway. They are in her room. Closes the door and watches as she lights a candle. She turns to him and says, "I should not be doing this. My love hours of candle at so fun. But you are so beautiful and so young." An hour later, they kiss in the darkened doorway. She says, "If you see me, you don't know me." He's gone. He meets his friends who have all enjoyed the same good luck. It's late. They've missed the last bus to the aerodrome. Arm in arm, they walk in the moonlight, silently sharing a flask of brandy, breathing in the warm spring air. As they approach Files Camp, they begin to sing loudly, "Mademoiselle, from Armentières, prenez-vous! Mademoiselle, from Armentières, prenez-vous!" As if to leave behind the feelings they have had that night. In another hour, they will be on patrol. They go to bed. They sleep. Dearest Margaret, it is the merry month of May, and today I sent another merry Hun to his merry death. How I hate the Hun. He's killed so many of my friends. I enjoy hunting him now. I go up as often as I can. My score is getting higher and higher because I like it. Yesterday I had a narrow escape. A bullet came through the windshield of my plane and creased my helmet. But this is as good as a mile, and if I am for it, I am for it. I do not believe I am for it. My superiors are pleased. Not only have I been made captain, but they are recommending me for a military cross. Thinking of you constantly, I remain. You may think you're something special that'll get you through this war, but the odds aren't in your favor, that's a fact you can't ignore. The chances are the man will come a-knocking at your door, and you'll never get out alive. You won't survive. So when you fight, stay as calm as the ocean, and watch what's going Ball, Britain's highest scoring pilot, stood before me. His black eyes gleamed at me, very, very pale, very intense. Back home, we would have said he had eyes like two pistols in the snow. That's not very romantic. And Albert Ball was romantic, if anyone was. Compatriots in glory. Oh, Bishop, I have an absolutely ripping idea. I want you to try and picture this. Two pilots take off in the dim, early dawn. It is dark, a slight fog. They fly straight for the German aerodrome at Douai, ghosts in the night. The Hun, unsuspecting, sleeps cozily in his lair. The sentries are asleep. Perhaps the Baron von Richthofen himself is there, sleeping, dreaming of eagles and Wiener Schnitzel. It is the moment of silence, just before the dawn. Suddenly, he is awakened by the sound of machine gun fire. He rushes to his window to see 4, maybe 5 of his best machines in flames. He watches as the frantic pilots try to take off, and one by one are shot down. The 2 unknown raiders strike a devastating blow. Bishop, you and I are those 2 unknown raiders. Jeez, I like it. It's a great plan. How do we get out? Get out. Well, yeah, you know, escape. I don't think you get the picture, Bishop. It's a grand gesture. Getting out has nothing to do with it. Oh. Well, it's a great plan. It's got a few holes I'd like to see plugged. I'd like to think about it. Very well, Bishop. You think about it. But just remember this. Compatriots in glory. Quite a fellow. The dying of Albert Ball. He was just 18 when he downed his first machine, and any chance of living through this war was small. He was 19 when I met him, and I never will forget him, the pilot by the name of Albert Ball. No matter what the odds, he left his fate up to the gods, laughing as the bullets brushed his skin. Like a medieval knight, he would charge into the fight and trust that one more time his pluck would let him win. So he courted the Reaper like the woman of his dreams, and the Reaper smiled each time he came to call. But the British, like their heroes cold and dead, so it seems, their hero in the sky was Albert Ball. Long after the fight, and way into the night, cold thoughts as dark as night would fill his brain, for bloodstains never fade, and there are debts to be repaid for the souls of all the men who died in vain. So when the night was dark and deep, and the men lay fast asleep, an eerie sound would filter through the night. It was a violin, a sound as soft as skin. Someone was playing in the dim moonlight. There he stood, dark and thin, and on his violin played a song of loneliness and pain. It mourned his victories, it mourned dead enemies, and the friends that he would never see again. Yes, he courted the Reaper like the woman of his dreams, and the Reaper smiled each time he came to call. But the British, like their heroes cold and dead, or so it seems. Our hero in the sky is Albert Ball. It's an ironic twist of fate that brings a hero to the gate, and Ball is no exception to that rule. Fate puts out the spark in a way as if to mark the fine line between a hero and a fool. Each time he crossed the line, Albert Ball would check the time by an old church clock reminding him of home. The Hun soon came to know the man who flew so low on his way back to the aerodrome. It was the 5th of May. He'd done bloody well that day. For the 44th time he'd won the game. As he flew low to check the hour, a hail of bullets from the tower! And Albert Ball lay dying in the flames. But through his clouded eyes, maybe he realized this was the moment he'd been waiting for. For the moment that he died, he was a hero, bona fide. There are to be no living heroes in this war. For when a country goes insane, obsessed by blood and pain, just to be alive is something of a sin. A war is not satisfied until all the best have died, and the devil take the man who saves his skin. Sometimes late at night, when the moon is cold and bright, I sometimes think I hear that violin. Death is waiting just outside, and my eyes are open wide as I lie in wait for morning to begin. Now I am courting the Reaper, like the woman of my dreams. And the Reaper smiles each time I come to call. For the British, like their heroes cold and dead, so it seems. My name will take the place of Albert Ball.
Look at the names on the statues everywhere you go. Someone was killed a long time ago. I remember the faces, I remember the time. Those were the names of friends of mine.
The statues are old now and they're fading fast. Something big must have happened way in the past. The names are so faded, you can hardly see. The faces are always young to me. Friends ain't supposed to die till they're old. And friends ain't supposed to die in vain. No one should die alone when he is 21. And living shouldn't make you feel ashamed. I can't believe how young we were back then. One thing's for sure, we'll never be that young again. We were daring young men with hearts of gold. Most of us never got old. Lincoln granny. Bishop, sit down. I have a bone to pick with you. Cedric, the colonial is under the weather. Bring tea and Epsom salts. Where were you last night, Bishop? I was out. Good. Very specific. Well, I have my own sources, and the picture which is painted for me is unfit for public view. Disgusting, unmannered, and informal practices in company unworthy even of you, Bishop. What concerns me is not where you were, but where you were not. To wit, you were not at a party which I personally arranged, at which you were to meet Bonner Law, Chancellor of the Exchequer. What have you to say in your defense? Look, Granny, thank you not to call me Granny. The greatness of it quite turns my stomach. But look, there was a fourth damn formal dinner this week. I mean, first it's General Hay, and then it's what's his name, the parliamentary secretary. I mean, I want to have some fun. Bishop, I am only going to say this once. It is not for you to be interested, entertained, or amused. You are no longer just another Canadian with bad taste and a poor service record. You have become a figurehead, unlikely as that may seem, a dignitary. The people of Canada, England, the Empire, indeed the world, look to you as a symbol of victory, and you will act the part. You shine your shoes and press your trousers. You refrain from spitting, swearing, gambling, and public drunkenness. And you will, and I say this with emphasis, you will keep your appointments with your betters. Now, tonight, you are dining with Lord Beaverbrook, and tomorrow with Attorney General F.E. Smith. Need I say more, Bishop? No. No. I'll be there. Oh, good. Oh, and Bishop, I had the occasion of passing the upstairs bathroom this morning and took the liberty of inspecting your toilet kit. There is what I can only describe as moss growing on your hairbrush. And your aftershave lotion has the odor of cat urine. I believe the implications are clear. See, a difficult road lies before us. Empire must rely for its defense upon an assemblage of Canadians, Australians, and blacks, and now the Americans. Our way of life is in peril. Dearest Margaret, I'm not sure I can get through this evening. In the next room is the Princess Marie Louise and 4 or 5 lords and ladies whose names I can't remember. I had a little bit too much champagne at dinner tonight and told the princess a lot of lies. Now I'm afraid to go back in because I can't remember what the lies are, and I'm afraid I'll contradict myself and look like an idiot. You want to talk to them? Being rich, you've got a lot more class than me. They'd like you. Maybe we ought to get married. I remain.
Breakfast sing with queens and kings, dining with lords and earls. Drink champagne and flows like rain, make a time with high-class girls.
Just a Canadian boy, England's pride and joy, a fantasies fulfilled. Ain't no one asked me where I'm from, they're happy for the men I've killed. Number one is a hero, number one, the constant in town. When I'm in my home, away from home, nobody's gonna shoot me down. Oh no, nobody's gonna shoot me down. I'm a hired gun, gonna shoot someone, but England's gonna stand by me. And if I die, you can't deny they're gonna call it a tragedy. I'm great company from the colonies, their love is so sincere. But when the war is done and the battle won, I got friends as long as I stay here. Number one is a hero, number one, the hot stay in town. When I'm in my home, away from home, nobody's gonna shoot me down. Oh no, nobody's gonna shoot me down. I woke up at 3 in the morning. Jesus, I scared. Very tense, you know? I mean, even Albert Ball said you couldn't do it with just one man. And Ball was a maniac. I figured it's no different from what we do every day. I mean, it's no worse. I don't think. Trouble is, nobody has ever attacked a German aerodrome single-handed before, so it's chancy, you know what I mean? I put my flying suit on over my pajamas, grab a cup of tea, and out I go. It's raining. Lousy weather for it, but what are you gonna do? Walter Bourne, my mechanic, is the only other man up. He has the engine running for me, and waiting.
Bloody stupid idea, if you ask me, sir. I put thumbs down on the whole thing. Go back to bed if I was you, sir.
Well, thanks a lot, Walter. That's really encouraging.
It's pissing rain, sir. Bleeding pity to die in the pissing rain. I can see it all now, clear as crystal before my very eyes. First, Albert Ball snuffs it. Then, Captain Bishop snuffs it. It's a bleeding pity if you ask me, sir. I mean, it balls up from beginning to end. Why don't you take my advice? Go back to bed like a good lad, sir.
Why don't you shut up, Walter? Ready?
Ready, sir.
It's awful up here. Cold, lonely as hell. Stomach's bothering me. Nerves? Nah. Damn it. Forgot to eat breakfast this morning. Shit. Just something else to put up with. I climbed to just inside the clouds as I crossed the line. No trouble? Good. Everybody's asleep. Now, let's find that German aerodrome. Where is it? It's gotta be around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. All right. A quick pass, a couple of bursts inside those sheds just to wake them up a bit, then pick them off one by one as they try and come up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's no planes. There's no people. The bloody place is deserted. Well, shit, that's it, isn't it? I mean, I can't shoot anyone if there's nobody here for me to shoot. This isn't a war. embarrassment, that's what it is. Feeling really miserable now. I cruise now, looking for some troops so I can shoot them. Nobody. What the hell is going on around here? Is everyone on vacation? Suddenly, I spot the sheds of another German aerodrome just ahead and to the left. Dang it. The only trouble is it's a little far behind the lines and I'm not exactly sure where I am. But it's either that or go back. God, my stomach's killing me. Why didn't I eat breakfast this morning? And why didn't I change out of my pajamas? It's gonna be great, isn't it? Real dignified if I'm taken prisoner. Spend the rest of the bloody war in my bloody pajamas. Over the aerodrome now at about 300 feet. Jeez, we got lots of planes here. Lots and lots of planes. What do we got? 6 scouts and a 2-seater? I hope that 2-seater doesn't come up. I'm gonna have a hell of a time getting him from the rear. A little late to think about that now. Machine gun guard in the aerodrome. Bullets all around me, tearing up the canvas of my machine. Just so long as they don't hit a wire, keep dodging them. Can't get too far away or I'll never get them as they try and get up. Come on, you guys, come on. All right, here's one starting to taxi now. I drop down the deck 15 feet behind him. He gets about 6 feet in the air, side flips, does this weird somersault and smashes into the end of the field. I pull around as quick as I can. Just in time to pick up another pellet as he tries to come up. My tracers are going wide. But he's so frightened he's not looking where he's going. He smashes into some trees at the end of the field. I put a few rounds into him and pull back on the stick. I'm feeling really great now. I don't feel scared. Don't feel nothing. Just ready to fight. Come on, you bastards! Come on! Wait a minute. This is what Ball was worried about. 2 of them are taking off in opposite directions at the same time. Now I feel scared. What do I do? Just get the hell out, that's what you do. One of them's close enough behind me to start firing. Where's the other one? Still down the neck? All right. You want to fight? We'll fight. I put it into a tight turn. He stays right with me. But not tight enough. As he comes in for a second firing pass, I have made him with a lateral loop, run her down off the top and dropping his tail. I hit the man. The plane crashes in flames on the field. Beautiful. The other fellow's closing with me now. I have just enough time to put on my last drum of ammunition. I head right for him. It's the old chicken game. I run out of all my ammunition. I miss him. But he doesn't want to fight. He probably thinks I'm crazy. I gotta get out of here now. We'll telephone to every aerodrome in the area. There'll be 100 planes out after me. I'd pull back on the stick and head for home. All alone, at last. Am I flying in the right direction? Yeah. Stomach. Sharp pains, like I've been hit. Nope. No blood. Good. Haven't been shot. Just all the excitement on an empty stomach. Just, being frightened. Jeez, I think I'm gonna pass out. No, don't pass out. then I look above me, and my heart stops then and there. I'm not kidding. 1,000 feet above me, 6 albatross scouts, and me with no ammunition. I think we're gonna puke. No, don't puke. What do? Just fly underneath them. Maybe they won't see you. I try and keep up for a mile or so, just flying underneath them, trying to keep up. I gotta get away. They're faster than I am, and if they see me, they got me. But I gotta get away. I pushed out the stick and died for home. I can feel the bullets smashing into my back at any second, into my arms, into my legs, into my Nothing. They didn't see me. Lyle's cap. Home. Just have to land it now. Just take it easy. I land. Walter Bourne's standing on the field with a few of the others.
I'm standing around waiting for him to be phoned in missing. And there he comes, like he's been out sightseeing. He lands with his usual skill, cracking both wheels. Then comes to a landing, as usual. Except there's nothing left of his breeding machine. It's in pieces. Bits of canvas, flopping around like laundry on the breeze. Beats me how it stayed together. Captain Bishop sits there quiet. Then he turns to me and he says,
Walter!
He says,
Walter, I did it! I did it! Never had so much fun in my whole life. That was the best fight of my career. Everybody made a big deal of it. But I just kept fighting through the summer. My score was getting higher and higher. I was feeling good. By the middle of August, I had 43. There's one less than Albert Ball. That's when the generals and colonels started treating me funny. Bishop! Yes, we have lots of medals for you, eh? Lots and lots of medals. And that's not all. No. You will receive your medals, and then go on extended Canada leave, and you won't fight again. What did you say, sir? Do I have a speech impediment, Bishop? I said, you won't fight again. Not fight again. But I have to fight again. I got 43. Ball had 44. All I need is one more of those sons of Bishop. No. You've done very well. You'll receive the Victoria Cross, the Distinguished Service Order, and the Military Cross. No British pilot has ever done that. Not even Albert Ball, God rest his soul. Leave it at that. You've done England a great service. Thank you very much. Now, you don't have to fight anymore. I should think you'd be delighted. You don't understand, sir. I like it. Oh, I know you like it. But it's become something of a problem. You see, Bishop, you have become a colonial figurehead. I know, sir. A dignitary. A colonial dignitary, Bishop. There is a difference. Now, the problem with your colonial is that he has a morbid enthusiasm for life. Call it a life wish. Now, what happens when your colonial figurehead gets killed, eh? I'll tell you what happens. Colonial morale plummets. Despair is in the air. Fatalism rears its ugly head. But a living colonial figurehead is a different cup of tea. The men look at him and are inspired. They say, he did it and lived, and I can do it too. You get the picture, Bishop. I believe I do, sir. Good lad. You'll leave 60th Squadron, never to return on the morning of August 17th. That is all, Bishop. That still leaves me a week. A lot can be done in a week. In the next 6 days, I shot down 5 planes. It really was #1 now. And the squadron, they gave me a big piss up on my last night there. But something happened in that last week that made me kind of glad to be out of it for a while. It was number 46. It's dusk, about 8 o'clock. We're returning to Piles Camp pretty leisurely because I figure this is my last bit of flying for a bit. It's a clear night. When it's clear up there, it's really very pretty. Just then, I spot this German aviatic 2-seater headed right for me. When it's a gift, I don't even have to think about this one. Put the plane down to a steep dive, come up underneath him and just break his belly with bullets. I don't know how they build those planes, but the whole thing just fell apart before my very eyes. Wings fell off, bits of the fuselage collapsed, and the pilot and gunner, they fall free. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit them, so they're still alive. There's nothing I can do to help them or shoot them or anything. All I can do is sit there and watch those 2 men fall. Wide awake. Die. It's awful. I know. I've killed a lot of them, but this is different. I mean, I can see them falling. Down. Down. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. It's like I could feel them. Looking at me. So, the next day when I leave for London, I'm pretty glad to be going after all. Bishop, today you will meet the king. This represents a high watermark for us all, and you must see to it that you do not make a balls up of it. I understand that the king is particularly excited today. It seems this is his first opportunity of presenting 3 medals to the same gentleman. Furthermore, the king is amused that that gentleman is from the colonies. Therefore, the king may speak to you. Should you be so honored, you will respond politely in grammatically cogent phrases, with neither cloying sentimentality nor rude familiarity. You will respond to the king with dignity and restraint. Do you think that you can manage that, William? Is it possible that the safest course would be for you to keep your mouth shut? The next day I arrive at Buckingham Palace. Late. Very confusing. Now hold on, sir. Where do you think you're going? Well, I'm supposed to get a medal or something around here. Well, you're way off. You are, sir. This is His Majesty's personal reception area. You just about stumbled into the Royal Loo. Now, what's going on here, Lieutenant? Well, this colonial wants to receive a medal, but his sense of direction seems to have failed him. Come on, Bishop. We've been looking everywhere for you. Now, here is the procedure. 10 steps to the center, turn, bow. You've already started, Bishop. You're just going to have to wing it. Michael, Order of St. George, and here I am. The king pins 3 medals on my chest. And then he says,
"Well, Captain Bishop, you've been a busy bugger."
I'm not kidding. The king's here, and I'm here. The king talks to me for 15 minutes. I can't say a word. I've lost my voice. And after the investiture, come the balls and the parties, the photographers and the newspaper reporters, the lords and ladies and the champagne and the filet mignon and the 50-year-old brandy. And here I am, Billy Bishop of Owen Sound, Canada, and I know one thing. Today is my day. There'll never be another day like it. I think of this as we dance far into the night, as we dance to the music of the Empire Soiree. Civilizations come and go. Don't you know? Dancing up to oblivion. Oblivion. The birth and death of nations. Civilizations can be viewed down the barrel of the gun. Nobody knows who calls the tune. It's been on the hit parade for many years. Can't you hear? You and I must join the chorus, like ancestors before us. And like them, we're going to disappear. You're all invited to the Empire Soiree. We'll see each other there, just wait and see. Wait and see. Attendance is required at the Empire Soiree. We'll all dance the dance of history. Revolutions come and go. Don't you know? New empires will take the other's place. Take their place. A song may be fun, but a new dance has begun. When someone sticks a gun in someone's face. Alexander and Julius had their dance. Had a chance. Till somebody said, may I cut in? With a grin. All you and I can do is put on our dancing shoes and wait for the next one to begin. You're all invited to the Empire Soiree. We'll see each other there, just wait and see. Wait and see. Attendance is required at the Empire Soiree. We'll all dance the dance of history. We'll all dance the dance of history.
Billy went back home again, but still he was not done. 72 planes did their dance to the rhythm of his guns. And in 20 years he was back again. A new war to be won. The hero calls to new recruits in 1941. The hero calls to new recruits in 1941. And they were off to fight the Hun. They would shoot him with a gun. Their medals would shine like a saber in the sun. They were off to fight the Hun, and it looked like lots of fun. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all. Somehow it didn't seem like war at all.
I have seen you go, and my heart is very proud. Once again, in the brief space of 20 years, our young men rushed to the defense of the mother country. Once again, you must go forward with all the courage and vigor of youth to wrest mankind from the grip of the Iron Cross and the swastika. Once again, on the edge of destiny, you must test your strength. Godspeed you, the army, on feet and on wheels, a member of which I was for so many happy years of my life. Godspeed you, the Air Force, where in the crucible of battle, I grew from youth to manhood. Godspeed you and God bless you. For once again, the freedom of mankind rests in you, in the courage, the skill, the strength, and the blood of our indomitable youth. You know, I pinned the wings on my own son this week. Margaret and I are very proud of him. And of our daughter. 3 bishops in uniform fighting the same war. Well, I guess I'm on the sidelines cheering them on. Comes as a bit of a surprise to me to find that there's another war on. We didn't think there was going to be another one back in 1918. Makes you wonder what it was all for. But we are not in control of any of these things, are we? And all in all, I'd have to say, it was a hell of a time. Oh, the bloody earth is littered with the fighters and the quitters. You can hear the soldiers yearning. Oh, if only I could fly. From the burning sun I'll sight you. In the burning sun I'll fight you. Oh, let us dance together in the sky.
In the sky, in the sky, just you and I up there together. Who knows why? One the hunter, one the hunted, a life to live, a death confronted. Oh, let us dance together in the sky.
Good night, ladies. Good night, gentlemen. Good night. Thank you all for the wonderful reception. We've got some very exciting news. The run of Billy Bishop Goes to War has been held over, and due to popular demand of audiences much like yourself. So the thing is, if you've got friends who haven't seen the show yet and they think, I've missed it, they've got until at least next weekend, the 21st. So please tell your friends we're the smallest show in Houston. We'd like to turn ourselves into the biggest hit.
Tell your